Hey everyone, welcome to our live stream where you ask your question. I'm going to answer it in a time-sensitive fashion. And look below in the description box. You're going to see timestamps for all the questions. I pretty much timestamped the questions that I spend the most time with. And what we got going on is it's coming up soon. I'm going to do a product review on 9-MeBC. That's coming up this week. Pretty interesting. When you look up anecdotes for this specific product, it's like some people use it for mood improvement. Some people use it to help them with like withdrawals when they're coming off like ADHD meds, or even like caffeine withdrawals. As many of you know, when people are accustomed to taking like 2 or 3 servings of coffee or caffeine per day and they get off of it, they experience withdrawals, headaches, they feel a bit slower, like they read slower and all these things. So this should be a pretty interesting compound. What I like a lot about N9-MeBC is it's super potent stuff. We're talking doses of like 10 milligrams to 20 milligrams. What else is new? Finally got some Oxiracetam. Let's go. Oxiracetam, got some Aniracetam. So I'm going to be putting that back into my stack. And someone asked me, they're like, do you notice anything yet after using it for a couple of days now? And the answer is no, because with Aniracetam, it takes a bit of time. Oxiracetam, not so much. That one's more responsible for like alertness. It's somewhat stimulatory, but Aniracetam, more subtle, better for anxiety. And what's up, guys? Where's everyone from? Hello, hello, hello. Guys, feel free to pop in your questions, but I don't got any questions yet, so I'm going to go into the questions from the channel comments. So somebody asks, can tyrosine with L-Car be an alternative for Modafinil? The answer is absolutely not. So they're asking if you look at with Modafinil, what makes it unique is you ingest it once and you pretty much feel it throughout the whole course of the day. You don't need to take it again. In fact, you shouldn't take it again, because with Modafinil, it will keep you up at night. So you want to take it within the first few hours of waking up, or that's for most people anyway. Whereas tyrosine and L-Car, acetyl L-Carnitine, they're going to be more kind of responsible for like a slight energy boost, only lasting for about a couple of hours, nothing too special. So that, yeah, as far as alternatives to look, if you're looking for an alternative to Modafinil, I think the closest thing out there is going to be phenylpiracetam. It's also going to be a similar dose. So with phenylpiracetam, what's common is to take like about 100 milligrams, put it under your tongue. That's pretty effective for me and most people anyway. The capsules of phenylpiracetam are typically going to be about 100 milligrams, but because with most other nootropics, the thing is they only last for so long. So you're going to need to take them twice during the day for them to feel anything like Modafinil. Like even if you were to take something like Quality of Mind, which has a number of ingredients, won't get too much into it, but even that itself is going to last maybe max 4 to 5 hours, right? And then people would need to take something again in the afternoon for them to get more energy. So that's that. Taurine helped taurine, somebody says, help my heart palpitations massively. Very cool. Okay, cool. We got some questions over here now. What's the best for brain fog? What's the best for memory, short term and long term? Brain fog, a lot of people see good success by taking L-Tyrosine. And brain fog, you want to really look at like what is the cause of it. More often than not, it's not going to be something that you're going to fix with nootropics. It's going to be something you can fix with your diet. Like I think most or the majority of the time anyway, the brain fog is happening because of some sort of food intolerance you may have. Maybe you're eating too many carbohydrates. Maybe your insulin sensitivity is not good. So for example, like when you eat big meals, unfortunately, you have these insulin spikes, you have your energy highs, and then your energy dips. And so if you can kind of get that right, then a lot of people seem to be able to reduce the brain fog. But as far as nootropics are concerned, one common occurrence for brain fog is when you take a stimulant, right? You have your up and you have your crash, and then when you have your crash, that's when you experience that brain fog. So when that does happen, then L-Tyrosine is really good. Of course, drinking water, I don't necessarily think piracetam can help that much, but if you are using choline consistently, you're taking it maybe 1 to 2 times a day, I just think that these occurrences of the brain fog will happen far less often. With respect to memory, Bacopa monnieri, taking 300 to 500 milligrams, starting off by taking that once a day, bumping it up to 2 times a day is good. And then also piracetam is super, super effective. I just talked about Oxiracetam, Aniracetam, but I've been taking piracetam now for a long time. I haven't really gone any gas without taking it. Probably maybe within the past 8 or maybe 9 years, I've taken piracetam every day, like 70% of the days. So rarely really miss it. It's super good for memory. And if you're not sure about that, then with piracetam, you really get to know that it's working for memory when you actually take some time off of it. I really enjoy it. I'm going to erase that comment here. Do you think there's any risk of taking Aniracetam with an SSRI? Nope. I think Aniracetam is like, it's super subtle. For those of you that like read about people's experiences taking Aniracetam, like, wow, they had such great results. Why didn't I? That individual is probably just very sensitive to nootropics, or Aniracetam does something to them unusual. Like, guys, if you can't get Aniracetam for some reason, don't worry. It's not that much of a game changer. Go exercise, right? Hey everyone. Okay, cool. Don't know what they're talking about. When and how often do you use Phenibut? I use Phenibut when I need to go to sleep, and specifically that will, when I have trouble having going to sleep, is when I take like a strong stimulant like modafinil or like phenylparacetam. So when it comes to modafinil and phenylparacetam, I'm using it maybe twice a week, sometimes once a week. And so those days, occasionally, depending on how I'm feeling, if I am too energized, too alert, then I may use Phenibut. I like the fact that it does help me go to sleep a little bit better. But the thing with Phenibut, maybe it's just me, it makes me pretty unproductive. So I work pretty long days, but not only that, like I'll take breaks in the middle of the day, and then like right before I sleep, unfortunately, I will have work to do because I have like I do have my my staff overseas. They're on a different time zone. So what happens is if I use Phenibut even like a few hours before going to sleep, awfully unproductive, want to have some fun, want to enjoy myself, kind of makes me a bit like dizzy. It's euphoric. It's a good feeling with Phenibut. And the way in which I use it is the FAA form. So that's the Phenibut free amino acid. I'll take pretty high dose. I need to take something like 500 milligrams, 750 milligrams, even 1 gram for me to actually feel it. And it doesn't matter whether you take that one under your tongue, but I do actually prefer taking the powder form. Not sure if you tried Orveda's Lion's Mane. Was going to ask if you tried review it. Cool. No, I have not tried that one. Have you tried stacking Gorilla Mind Smooth with Gorilla Mode pre-workout? I think it's a good gym stack for the a good stack for the gym. No, I actually haven't. With Gorilla Mode pre-workout, I like the what was it? The non-stimulant one. And I talked about their products. It's decent. It's not bad. It has some good ingredients, but even with a very high dose of caffeine, it didn't give me like the same kick that I wanted it to. You know, when you take the pre-workout and you feel focused, you feel euphoric, you're feeling good. I don't seem to get that. Don't you know why they don't have Rastams? No, I have no idea. I don't work for them. Sorry, guys. Does lithium have nootropic value? Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be mood stabilizing, going to be making you feel decent. So yeah, I think that depends on how you define nootropic value. Eating gluten gives me brain fog. That is a perfect example, and good on you for just being mindful of food choices. And it's interesting, even when you have an idea of sort of what foods may cause you to experience brain fog, then you may not do anything about it. So it's going to require some discipline there. Have you tried Semax? Yes, I used to actually talk about Semax a lot. So I started this channel in 2018, and I think I started heavily getting into nootropics or using them 2014, and 2014 with some experience like 2012, 2013. But I used Semax, I think from 2014 to 2016, maybe 17. I use it almost every single day. Had it in a nasal spray. Really enjoyed it. Wasn't bad. I think you can get a pretty similar benefit by taking Nootropic though. And the only reason I stopped taking Semax wasn't that it did anything wrong, like no negative side effects. Was just, I mean, it just stopped becoming available. Figured like why not? But yeah, not a big deal. So what it feels like, pretty similar to Nootropic, somewhat stimulatory, and like you ingest a bit of it, feel like a little bit of a kick for an hour or two, feel more alert. I did feel like my memory was a bit better, and like simple things like your word recall being better, of course, that's kind of things like you would expect from it. One second, I'm just gonna close this. I actually started low dose lithium. I'm curious about this as well. Cool. I need high energy. We all need high energy. I'm a teacher for age group 4 to 10. I used L-Tyrosine, but unfortunately cannot use it more than 3 times a day. Which Racetam would you recommend? So I don't know if I would recommend a Racetam, but the other energy boosting nootropics you may want to look at taking are Rhodiola, rosea, even L-Theanine. You'd be surprised. Some people ingest that, and like it may just give you energy if you're like kind of like cognitively fatigued. You need to calm down a little bit. Then don't be surprised if that does something for you. And the other adaptogen, which people like, Bacopa monnieri, you can consider taking Nalt. It probably won't work for you, but it doesn't hurt to try. Like for you to use 3 servings of L-Tyrosine a day, that's just a lot. I don't recommend it. It causes anxiety for a lot of people, and then there is the odd occurrence of some people feeling like withdrawals from not. Just after coming off of it. So there's other nootropics out there. Like if you look at my last video, I talked about the energy boosting stack that also included phosphatidylserine and alpha-GPC. And make sure you check out that video because that one really will be responsible for a good energy boost because you shouldn't be needing to take L-Tyrosine 3 times a day. I would guess, like, guys, for all of you out there, if you have any suspicions that your energy levels are just chronically low and you're waking up tired, get your blood work checked. It could be low testosterone. It could be low thyroid. Having low thyroid is going to be responsible for low energy, and that's an issue that nootropics are just not going to solve. I'm sorry to say, guys. That's what happened to me. Aniracetam blew my world, but I think I developed a tolerance. Yeah, very neat. Interesting. It's pretty small doses with aniracetam in most cases. 500 milligrams, 750 milligrams twice a day, sometimes 3 times a day. Make sure, of course, you're having it with your choline, and you're going to be needing to give it some patience. With aniracetam, it's going to really help you with social anxiety, especially if you're somebody like myself. You need to be talking to people, need to be presenting, need to make your sales calls, your follow-ups. You can't afford to be anxious. You cannot afford to procrastinate. That's where aniracetam can really be decent. I just tried kava kava. Seems to work for sleep. Heard that if it's not noble kava, it can be bad for liver. Yeah, not sure about that. I don't use kava too often just because I have tried it. They did a little bit for me, nothing, but nothing too special. Okay, we're going to get this guy banned. Put user in timeout. Isn't that cool? I have a special button. I can put a user on timeout. Sorry, guys. From Washington State, any info on L-Carnitine opinion or from your experience? L-Carnitine is not really promoted too often as a nootropic. More so it's going to be promoted for fat loss, believe it or not, weight loss, weight management. It's really not that helpful. I think if your goal is weight loss, you're going to have better experience just using caffeine, 100 milligrams of caffeine twice a day. It's going to boost your metabolism, even something like green tea extract. So I don't know what you're using it for, but if you're using carnitine with the specifically for the nootropic intention, yeah, the intention of getting like the nootropic, the cognitive boost, then you're going to be better off trying something like Alcar, ALCAR, acetyl L-carnitine. Best snack for improving / repairing working memory. When it comes to repairing working memory, that's the autooccurrence in which you may want to look at something like taking Pramiracetam, which tastes absolutely awful. Hopefully you can find it in the capsule form. But what I have seen it do for a lot of people is sort of like repair some area of which may have been damaged. However that happened, trauma, maybe you hurt your head, right? 9 MEBC. Okay, cool. Can't answer that, guys. These sourcing questions just stop wasting your time. What is the best stack for memory and focus? Kind of did address that, but talking about focus, Noopep, I really like. Alpha-GPC, really like. Oxiracetam, I really like that. And I would recommend that you go ahead and you watch the video which I made addressing, like, I went through all the nootropics out there. I made a list. I rated them from a scale of 1 to 10, and I did just mention a couple lines as far as what the intended benefit was with whatever nootropic. But those are some which I really enjoy. And like, don't forget to hit your workout. I think it's going to be responsible the most for you getting your good focus and motivation in. Make sure you get that. Also, nootropics for dopamine, there's only going to be a few. So L-Tyrosine, like I mentioned, mecunopurians, also known as L-Dopa. That one people rarely have a good experience with. Like 10 to 20% of people may seem to like it. You won't come across a lot of people saying that they use L-Dopa consistently, but where some people seem to have a good experience taking it is when they take it once and then they sort of feel the benefit throughout the whole course of the day. It's in quality of mind, but again, not that effective. So we mentioned those two, and then N-acetyl L-tyrosine, N-acetyl L-tyrosine versus L-tyrosine. I would say L-tyrosine is going to be better with N-acetyl L-tyrosine. It's going to hit you a lot faster, arguably more potent. There is some research showing that it does. It should cause you to achieve higher levels of tyrosine, but not that effective in a practical sense. It's like it hits you very quickly, but then it's kind of out of your system within 45 minutes. Whereas with L-tyrosine, it takes a bit of time for it to get in your system, for you to feel kind of like that push, that drive, that ambition. But after probably about 20 minutes after ingestion of L-tyrosine, you'll probably feel it for a good 60 to 90 minutes. So it's good that way. Is 400 milligrams of caffeine in the morning too much? I think so. I think it may be okay. Just you want to wait about at least 30 minutes after waking up for you to take caffeine, because is when you wake up, what's going to happen is you're going to have that natural cortisol spike, which is going to be responsible for boosting your energy levels. So if you wake up and you consume your caffeine too early, it's actually going to blunt that cortisol spike. And then what's going to happen is you're going to need more caffeine throughout the whole course of the day. to account. Yeah, just because you kind of missed out that natural cortisol spike, which you want. So what you got to do, wake up, wait at least 30 minutes, and then take your caffeine. 400 milligrams, you can take it. I think I mentioned this before, but the government of Canada site anyway says 400 milligrams of caffeine is like the upper threshold. Do not take any more of that. Probably the same thing in the US. And of course, it's going to depend on the individual and your body weight, but 400 milligrams of caffeine can be okay. Just watch out for that. You want to know yourself. For me, I'm going to experience my caffeine crash about 3 to 4 hours after I ingest it. So I'm just like expecting the fact that I'm going to be in a very bad mood after I take my serving of caffeine. Like today, for example, just around 2:00 p.m., I took about 300 milligrams of caffeine. And so I time it kind of like strategically, meaning that from 5 to 6 p.m., I'm going to feel withdrawal. I mean, or not withdrawals. I'm going to feel an energy crash. I'm going to just feel slow. I'm not going to really want to do anything. And so ideally what you want to do is don't put intense work during that time you have your caffeine crash. Because if you do that, if you really just grind out what's so is it's just going to slow you down further for the rest of the day. You want to just put a break there, recharge, drink water, take a nap, and then by the time you know it, the caffeine crash is going to be gone. You're going to be going back to work. But for those odd occurrences that you need to just work through your caffeine crash, that is when L-Tyrosine has a really good use, because you're not going to experience brain fog. You're going to have energy, and yeah, that's just how I would address that whole kind of like caffeine experience, and just timing things. And you really want to know just how you feel with it, which is something which I really enjoy about taking caffeine pills or taking a pre-workout supplement versus coffee, is like you can at least predict how you're going to feel and how you can mitigate the side effects and still have an overall productive day. I hope that's helpful. That's too much caffeine, man. Yeah, it depends who you ask. And I'm going to prefer tyrosine over that all the time. All the time. Yeah, Swiss Chem. So this product itself is actually Swiss Chem's, but I used their bromontane. I wasn't too impressed with it, but that was, again, that's like, I think that's only the second brand of which I've used bromontane with. So we'll see how this goes. I'm also using NSI 189, which I've talked about before. That one's more like mood promoting, so it's all right. What would you recommend between Gingko biloba or Bacopa monnieri? I'm a university student studying for exams. I would personally recommend Bacopa monnieri, and that would be assuming that you're going to boost your memory. Gingko biloba, a lot of people use since it's seen as safer, seen as less side effects, because with Bacopa monnieri, people ingest it, and the most common side effect with Bacopa is demotivation, feeling tired, feeling lethargic, feeling kind of lazy, and that does happen, feeling relaxed. You also do get that phenomena when you take something like ashwagandha or lion's mane for a lot of people. But with lion's mane, sometimes it drops libido, depending on who you ask. So because of that, Gingko biloba can be seen as a good alternative, but Gingko biloba, from my experience, I mean, barely does anything. Not effective, very inexpensive though. Again, pretty safe. Maybe there's some research showing that Gingko biloba could be better with the elder population or people with dementia or some sort of cognitive impairment. Best supplement for ME planning. Can you be clearer, please? What sleep aids have you used and or recommend? Great question, and I've made a video on that, Mr. Dusty Mavs. So some of my current favorites include Shodan. Shodan is the extract of ashwagandha, which is going to be more, promoting for like relaxation, pretty much just falling asleep. Like with Shodan, there's this one study which shows if you take 100, the subjects, like healthy subjects, took 120 milligrams of Shodan, and they slept better. They slept better, meaning that they woke up less frequently during the time they were sleeping. They woke up refreshed, not only like objectively, but subjectively as well. So definitely check that one out. SHODN, Shodan ashwagandha. You can get it from Nootropics Depot with super like small capsules, 120 milligrams. And the other ones which I take, lemon balm extract. I'm taking one tablet of that typically before going to bed. That works well. ZMA I'll take occasionally, and melatonin I've never been too big of a fan of, but I'll use it occasionally. Like with melatonin, you can get the extended release, you can get the instant release. I know that Gorilla Mind also had their product, Gorilla Mind, I think it's Gorilla Mind Dream or Gorilla Dream, something like that, which was okay, nothing special. And if you've gone through a number of nootropics and you've not seen a benefit with your sleep, it's pretty normal. Don't worry. Don't beat yourself up about it. Maybe you're just somebody healthy and you don't need as much sleep as other people. But something you can try doing is don't necessarily adjust your diet, but adjust the timing of of your meals, and something which actually worked for me is carbohydrate backloading. So moving the majority of your carbohydrates actually in the later portion of the day versus the beginning of the day, surprisingly just helped me get better sleep. Who knows? Maybe it's because you ingest carbohydrates and it does actually raise serotonin, and higher serotonin levels are going to be responsible for you having better sleep. But some other things to point out: 5-HTP. Some people enjoy that one. One of my favorite sleep supplements blends is called Dream Water. So Dream Water has 5-HTP, has melatonin. I think it has a little bit of GABA. GABA, by the way, guys, super overrated. I occasionally get people ask about GABA. GABA is like, it's something which you want to get in powder form versus capsule form, because there's different uses for it. If you're gonna use GABA during the day for like calmness, relaxation, then small doses of like 500 to 750 milligrams are okay. But if you're trying to achieve something like getting higher growth hormone levels, which GABA, there's actually some studies showing that it can do this, then we're looking at doses like 3 grams, even 5 grams. So it is pretty cool. There is some solid research just stating that GABA does have some neat benefits, but that's why you may just want to get it in powder form, because you may not know exactly what it's going to do. So you can try some different doses, and yeah, some different doses, and I'll talk more about that. GABA, I made a video on it, so you'll see that. I've tried mixing Oxiracetam and Aniracetam, and it seemed to bring out the negatives, such as high fatigue. Ouch. Maybe even more alpha-GPC. Yeah, absolutely. And that's like the really tricky thing about the Racetams that people forget. If you ingest the Racetams, you don't have enough alpha-GPC, you're going to feel fatigued. You're going to feel a bit of brain fog very often. And with alpha-GPC, it's strong, so you may even actually feel a bit depressed, unfortunately. So with that, and on my Patreon page, I actually put out a post of the timing in which if you were to take the Racetams, which one should you take first? What should you take second? And just like the overall timing as far as when you should be doing that week after week. But what I would recommend, Racetams is always going to be like a good one just to start off with. There's a really neat synergy with the Racetams. It's like you add Ractam and Aniracetam, and man, you can really feel it. You can feel the Aniracetam, just working a lot better. So it's pretty powerful stuff, especially if you're like me. You're an entrepreneur. You got to be pushing yourself. You got to be inspired. You got to be working hard. The Racetams are really going to be effective. Like, not so much really for calmness and relaxation, but you want to grind, you want to make money, you want to study harder, you want to put in more hours of work. The Racetams really are where it's at. And guys, if you appreciate that, then drop a like on this live stream. Let's go. Next question. Do you have a link for Kratom? No, I don't. Is Rhodiola rosea effective if taken in the morning for motivation and energy? I'm going to say no. From my experience with it, because I mentioned that with Rhodiola rosea, I often don't, I rarely take it in the morning. If I'm somewhat sleep deprived, then I may ingest it first thing in the morning with some water, or if I have to hit a workout and I'm tired, then I may use it. But for most cases with Rhodiola rosea, knowing that I'm only going to take it once, if not twice a day, I would much rather save it for a time when I'm feeling pretty fatigued. I wake up, I'm not as fatigued, or at least I'm not mentally fatigued. So for that reason, I'd want to wait until about like 12 o'clock, maybe 2 o'clock, ingest it, center myself, feel grounded, feel at peace, and then I can go about my day feeling somewhat productive. Because man, Rhodiola rosea, like it clears your mind. You will kind of forget all the negative crap that happened a few hours prior. So that's one way in which I personally really enjoy it. And there's different forms of Rhodiola rosea, but they're all decent, honestly. Not only just website brand, but make sure you're getting the right dose. 300 to 500 milligrams is good. 500 milligrams is typically how you're going to find it in the capsule form. And if you watch my video where I rated all the nootropics from a scale of 1 to 10, I think that was the only nootropic that I rated a 10 out of 10. But in my other videos where I rated nootropics from a scale of 1 to 10, I don't know if I rated Rhodiola rosea a 10. I think it was just this video, and that just goes to show you how good it is. Because after all this experience with nootropics, there have been nootropics that I at one point really enjoyed, maybe later on did not enjoy so much, but Rhodiola rosea, it's always been there for me. Love it. I'm currently using Tongkat Ali, and it's really beneficial, better than ashwagandha. Really? In what way? I'd be curious, because I've got a video talking about this coming soon, Tongkat Ali versus ashwagandha. The last time I tried ashwagandha, I got dry skin, so it's better for me to avoid ashwagandha. So here's the thing. Tongkat Ali versus ashwagandha, guys, depends what you're using them for. If you're using these nootropics with the intended benefit of getting the testosterone boost, Tongkat Ali is going to be far better. Yeah, you'll feel it. You'll feel stronger at the gym. You'll feel better libido. slightly better sleep. But with ashwagandha, it's definitely going to beat Tongkat Ali when it comes to relaxation, calmness. So it all just depends on what you're using Tongkat Ali for. And with ashwagandha, yeah, if you're experiencing negative side effects, then the easiest thing you can do is just use ashwagandha with something else. Like, the reality is, the people that don't have a good experience with ashwagandha are often the people that are just using ashwagandha by itself. It's the experienced nootropics users that understand that when they take ashwagandha, it's somewhat going to demotivate them. So for that reason, they're using it along with like Noopep, or they're using ashwagandha along with something like caffeine, and that works a lot better. Best supplement for planning, love it. Lion's mane is really good. Just helps you to really look at the big picture, right? And then Racetam is also going to be decent too. Is Rhodiola rosea stronger than Tongkat Ali for boosting energy and testosterone levels? For boosting energy levels, Rhodiola rosea is going to be better. And with Tongkat Ali, it's going to be better at boosting testosterone levels. I don't really think that Tongkat Ali is that energy promoting, but the one thing I have found with Tongkat Ali, which is really great, is that you can ingest Tongkat Ali. You won't need to sleep as much as typically, or that was my experience when I first started taking it. It was interesting. Like, I first started using Tongkat Ali, and if you watch my like the videos I've made on Tongkat Ali, I think I made one video after my 30-day experience, one video after my 12-month experience. And what I had mentioned was in the earlier video, so I think after 1 to 2 months experience with Tongkat Ali, I could really tell the fact that you use Tongkat Ali and you can almost get away with having, like, instead of needing 7 hours of sleep, you can get away with taking 6.5 hours, maybe 6 hours. And yeah, that really didn't depend like when you're using it. Just super effective that way, helped with energy levels. But as time goes on and using Tongkat Ali, most people are using it daily. You don't get that same benefit. But with libido, with testosterone, it is still decent. So what I have found now is the right practice around using Tongkat Ali is something like taking 6 weeks on, maybe 8 weeks on, followed by 2 weeks off. That's decent. Nothing wrong with going like 8 weeks on, so 2 months on, followed by 1 month, followed by taking 1 month off. But with Rhodiola rosea, that's one great thing. Cycling off of it is really not that important. Like, if you go 2 months on, followed by maybe like 4 or 5 days off, and you repeat that, I think that even that's fine. Or maybe that's just me anyway. Like, I use Rhodiola rosea almost every single day, and yeah, I'm pretty sensitive to it. And same thing can be said with L-Tyrosine and caffeine. I don't really need to don't really have the need to take a break from that one. What is the best for increased dopamine? We've already talked about that one. Have you heard of Aniracetam working acutely? I tried 750 milligrams and I had insane level of focus, processing power, memory, and basically no social anxiety. Yes, James, this happens to me sometimes, not all the time, but it did happen in my earlier years when I started using Aniracetam, and it happens for other people too. But what surprises me when people like make these claims like it's really working for them, and this happens very often, that it just ends up being like placebo, super placebo. So yeah, it's not too rare. It does happen here and there, right? Which is cool. I already talked about that. 9-MeBC is probably the best for dopamine. Is that right? Okay, that's surprising because I'm not too impressed with it so far. Let me just say that. The best for increasing serotonin, there's probably only one thing, and that's going to be 5-HTP. You ingest 5-HTP. A common dose is going to be like 100 to 200 milligrams. And you know it's boosting your serotonin because, man, your mood is going to be up. Lesser of a need lesser desire to eat carbohydrates, because that's what happens. With serotonin, it's very interesting. It's one of the like really important neurotransmitters around sleep, around like even like cravings, diet, stuff like that, mood. So pretty cool, boosting serotonin. You can almost like look at it like a shot of happiness, as bad as that sounds. That's what 5-HTP does. How do you feel regulation around nootropics could be improved? I'm not sure what you mean with that one. Ask it in another way, please. Rhodiola rosea reduce your appetite? Yes. So it's pretty cool that way. People don't often use it to reduce their appetite or to lose weight, but that's something that it does, because as you ingest it, it fights fatigue. You feel centered, you feel focused, and I think any nootropic which is going to help you with focus is also going to reduce your appetite at the same time. I mean, think about it. You're focused on something. You're not focused on eating, so it just works out that way. Any nootropics to battle chronic fatigue? Stimulants tend to lead to a crash. Yeah, so we've talked about many of them. Chronic fatigue. So what do we have? Alpha-GPC, that's one. Rhodiola rosea, Bacopa monnieri, that's a very good one. Phosphatidylserine. L-Tyrosine, probably not so effective for chronic fatigue. And again, get your blood work done. So for thyroid, I have had a low thyroid for at least the past like 9-10 years, and so I've been using Cytomel at 50 micrograms. That's been really working well for me. Like it's working well for me versus Synthroid. A lot of people use Synthroid to boost their thyroid levels, and then they realize that Synthroid does not really do anything because Synthroid works on T4. Whereas depending on the person, some people need their T4 boosted, but some people actually need their T3 boosted for them to get that energy benefit. So then, it seems to work out. And what else? Chronic fatigue, lose weight, guys. Common sense. if you're carrying 10 to 20 extra pounds on your body, it's gonna be tiring. It's amazing how much better I feel now that I think growing up, I was about 10, 15 pounds heavier than how much I weigh now. And I feel much better, but I'm also exercising. I exercise every day. There's 1 or 2 days where obviously it's a lighter exercise, but I'm just making sure that I'm moving my body. I don't ever want to be stationary. And don't let people telling you watch out for the path of least resistance and you selling yourself short, saying that you don't need to exercise and you don't need to move and making up all these excuses. Guys, you got to be moving, drinking water, like have some common sense. It's amazing how if you exercise, you're going to boost your energy levels. But the other thing too, of course, having a good healthy diet. Fish oil. I've been taking now 2 teaspoons of fish oil for the past 3 months. I'm definitely feeling better. Better energy, better cardio, better mood. So I would strongly recommend that you get a good brand of fish oil. Stick to it. Make sure you have it down as a habit. If it's a hard habit for you to start incorporating, one way that you can get good habits into practice is put a new habit onto an existing habit. So for example, an existing habit may be something like brushing your teeth, right? So right after you brush your teeth or right before, have your fish oil. Make sure you have your fish oil. Any side effect for long-term modafinil use? No, this is the super cool thing about modafinil, why people use it and feel that it's safe, which I'm not saying that it is that there's a lot of people that have actually used modafinil for years, surprisingly, and they've not seen any negative side effects. Again, we've not tracked these people and seen just how they were performing 10 to 20 years later, but who knows? So that's one cool thing about modafinil, and unfortunately, that's what makes me feel somewhat safe with taking it, is the fact that, very low side effects. It's pretty cool. It's pretty darn cool. With modafinil, the way you're going to just have the best modafinil experience is by listing out all your priorities, all your tasks the day before you use modafinil, because when you're using modafinil, that's it. From the time that you take it, your judgment is impaired. Like I have found that you ingest modafinil, you have very high energy levels, but you're just, your judgment, you really don't know what your high paying activities are anymore. You'll spend your time doing all the mundane, low dollar per hour work. So make sure you have good modafinil experience. The main side effects are going to be the fact that when you use modafinil, you will not remember anything that day, or you'll remember less. So let's say like an example is I attend a lot of conferences, I sell houses, I attend a lot of conventions. I have to educate myself on not only how to sell houses, but how to train agents to sell more houses. And for example, when I'm at a conference, I would not ingest modafinil, because when you ingest modafinil, you seem to not be able to retain the things that you learn. You're meeting people, you're learning new information. I don't know, maybe it's just because there's no emotions that are triggered. You don't seem to remember things as well. So if you're studying, I'd be very careful about using modafinil. It's more like an execution kind of nootropic that now I would take it and I would shoot a lot of videos. I would make a lot of calls, just get that kind of work done. What's your preferred percentage of Rosavins? It's the 3%. I think it's a 3% salidroside found on Nootropics Depot. That one's great. Have you found anything that just resets yourself after a long day? So my Apollo gadget is amazing. If you want to look that up, it uses these vibrational frequencies, and it does help you unwind to some extent. So I'm enjoying that. Also just enjoying, honestly, taking a break from screens, excuse me. As far as nootropics are concerned, that's a good question. No, I'm using nootropics really to help me with my work ethic, really help me to be sharp. But then I stay away from nootropics when when the workday is actually over. At that time, I'm eating something, I'm having my fish oil, having my multivitamins. I don't really think that you should use any nootropics to calm you down. You should just use good practices like meditation, taking a break, taking a walk, walk your dog. Guys, it's not rocket science here. I'm going to start using Rhodiola rosea from the next month. Let me know how it goes. A lot of people are good with just taking that once a day. I like taking it twice a day personally, but that's because I take it, I work pretty long days. Thoughts on, and greetings to you too. Hope you are well, sir. Thoughts on uridine? I don't personally see the need for taking uridine if you're using Alpha-GPC. I'm using Alpha-GPC 150 milligrams two, if not 3 times a day. And uridine, I've tried using it instead of Alpha-GPC. Maybe that was a mistake, but I've also tried using it on top of Alpha-GPC. I've personally not seen too much of a benefit with it. Some people do use it though, and they see that they get a nice mood boost, which is pretty cool. Do you think modafinil can cause personality disorders? Not sure what you mean by that. Does it adjust your personality? Hell yes, you are. People will not like you when you're under the influence of modafinil. You will be impatient. You will be focused on your work. You will not pay attention to pretty much anyone or anything outside of your work, and not even work. Sometimes it's just screens. You just want to be behind a screen, looking at your mouse cursor, and that's what stimulants do, unfortunately. What do you think about L-Tryptophan? L-Tryptophan's all right. Some people seem to like it. Better energy levels. Some people get better sleep with it. L-Tyrosine, really enjoy that one out of the 3. L-Theanine, not so much. I used to like L-Theanine when I used to use it along with caffeine, but I realized that kind of overrated. You use caffeine by itself, 100 milligrams. As long as you know how you respond to it, you can pretty much achieve really good results by taking caffeine. Just with some people who do get like the anxiety with caffeine, then I can see how L-Theanine may benefit them. But L-Theanine, sometimes you use it with caffeine, like you're so present, you're so present that you can't do anything except for be present. Ever tried? No, I have not. Sounds interesting though. Have you ever built a stack to maximize the potential for ADHD medication? That would really just be things like Alpha-GPC, the occasional use of phosphatidylserine, maybe Rhodiola rosea. Again, lots of Alpha-GPC, because with ADHD meds and like things like modafinil or phenylpiracetam, they're just going to overpower everything. You can try using nootropics. You'll see a slight benefit with, but yeah, even things like L-Tyrosine. It's very interesting. Like the other day, I had phenylpiracetam, I had modafinil, and later in the day, I thought I wanted an energy boost. So I took some L-Tyrosine. I didn't even notice the L-Tyrosine doing anything, because these things are just overpower everything else, right? If you had to pick one supplement as a caffeine replacement, what would it be? Probably phenylpiracetam. If not that, then it would be Dynamine. Dynamine's pretty good. It's in my good books now. I didn't used to like it that much. Can an activity like playing chess on a regular basis improve brain health, or is it good for brain health? Yeah, anything which is going to be cognitively like challenging is going to be good for brain health. I played the piano. I really enjoy that. Reading some like just challenging material. Challenging material would be stuff like philosophy, reading about philosophy, physics, math, just anything difficult or you look at as being difficult. It's probably going to be, you guys really want a challenge? Man, get into sales. Make some cold calls. Try talking to people. Make sales calls. Like, you guys just don't, or people outside of sales don't realize how cognitively demanding it is. Like, you get into a sales role for a bit of time, 3 to 6 months, your confidence will be so high that you'll pretty much feel like you can do anything. It's pretty cool. Have you built a stack? Okay, I think that was the same. Yeah, no, that was the same question. Can L-Tyrosine be taken with NAC 3 times a day? Why not? It could be. I don't really see why you would want to do that. With NAC, the way most people use it is just once a day, and that seems to be enough, but depends on what you're using it for. So thoughts on Kratom? I'm still needing to try it properly. I've tried it spontaneously here and there, but now, yeah, I can commit to getting started with that and taking it for 30 days. Most often, people are using it, Kratom, for anxiety or for productivity, but people do often feel negative side effects, which is why they don't really stick to it long term. Alpha-GPC, are you stacking this with garlic extract? Huberman made the suggestion. I'm actually not, but that's something really interesting, because I have garlic extract. I use it. Yeah, that's another supplement which I'll use spontaneously, just because I'm not really too convinced it'll do anything for you, garlic extract, but nothing wrong with adding some garlic to your diet. To clarify my previous question, what do you think should be legalized and what should be required on labels? Still don't know what your previous question was. Sorry about that. What's the best thing to take right before an interview where we need to be relaxed but focused? Depending on the individual, this is the thing. Before an interview, I wouldn't take any risks. Don't try any nootropics that you have not used previously. But L-Theanine is going to be a good one. Caffeine L-Theanine could be good. Just make sure that you respond well to it. Lion's mane is always going to be good, because when you ingest lion's mane, you feel, not only do you feel present, but you feel like whatever happens during this interview, good thing or bad thing, it doesn't matter. You're letting go, and you're accepting the fact like you need this experience, and this experience is going to move you forward. There's a lot of power just letting go, being unattached to the outcome. You feel present. You feel really just more like in that mind space of things don't happen to me, they happen for me, and you'll be more present, be able to get that done. So I really like lion's mane for like high pressure scenarios because you can just be a bit more grounded. I've had Shilajit to help my sleep. Have you experienced this? I feel more wide awake when I take it. So you feel more wide awake, but you use it for your sleep. Interesting. Shilajit, a lot of people I'm seeing right now, they're using it actually to boost their testosterone levels. So I've not personally tried this for sleep, but seems interesting. Why not? What can I do for it with anxiety after modafinil use? Normally, the second day of using 200 milligrams, I become very anxious and react a very bad way with everyone. So because of that, the second day, don't use modafinil. Use modafinil maybe every other day. See how you respond to it. I think you're going to see better results that way. Modafinil versus Adderall for ADHD. So I'm just going to remove that. For both are bad, but I wouldn't personally use it Adderall, because with Adderall, what happens is you ingest it. You're going to feel it the next day. It's really going to hurt your performance the following day. You're not going to be able to sleep right. And kind of like all the impatience and the irritability and the want, like the desire to focus and not focus on anything else. It's almost too extreme with Adderall. So people can tell you're on something. And yeah, man, you don't want to be in that state when you take something and you take a nootropic supplement and then you sacrifice the following day, because that's going to just set you up for like a really negative cycle of wanting to do the same thing. And guys, that's a wrap. Really hope you enjoyed this. Drop your comment below if you did. If you did, I'm going to get some timestamps here, and I appreciate all of you guys so much. I'm going to respond to every single comment. Just give me some time when you guys drop your comment on the on my YouTube videos. I will get to it. Just give me 2, maybe 3 days. I appreciate you all, and we'll talk.